All right, welcome back to the drive-thru for a fast, tripped-out version brought to you by Senior Halloween. Looking for some candy? Hey, boys and girls, you want some candy? Stop by the deli. All right, ready? We're going to do every other one. Oh, beat Mason. Thank you, Jameson. Thank you. Go get them, boys. All right, do we know this one? What number multiplies by itself to give you 49? So you can kind of think about this like this. 7 times the square root of -1. But what is the square root of -1? That's right. So then we are actually going to answer this question as 7i. That is our answer. Got it? We can handle that, right? All right, number 3. Is there any number that multiplies by itself to give you 7? No. So this is radical 7 times radical -1. And what is the square root of -1 again? So this is I times radical 7. Remember, we're not doing anything. We're just simplifying. You know the first time you ever simplified in your life? What if you turned that in on a test and you were in the 4th grade? What would your teacher say? You just need to write that like this. There's just weird rules that we're following. So one of the rules is no negatives under the radical, and that's all we're doing. We're changing the way this number looks. 4 would be I radical 10. And say radical 10 because radical is a great word to say. It's a great word. All right, now this one's harder, because the square root of 8 can be written as the square root of -1, the square root of -8, times the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. Well, I picked 4 and 2 for a reason, because what is the square root of 4? 2. And what is the square root of -1? I. So we are going to write these two as 2i, and then we still have the radical 2. That one's a little harder. Would you like to try number 6 to get a little extra practice on the hard one? Let's just do it. Do you know that 16 goes into 48? You probably didn't, but if you did, you have a big advantage in here. Otherwise, you're going to have to, in your calculator, check these numbers. Probably those. What numbers are these? Perfect squares. They're also the open lockers. That's from day 1. Remember that? Remember that? But we're not even going to go there right now. Okay, so this is equal to the square root of -1 times the square root of 16 times the square root of 3. Right? Does everybody agree? 2 of these 3 radicals can be changed. We can rewrite the 16 as 4. We can rewrite the square root of -1 as I. Okay. Plot each. Okay, so here's what you want to do. Can you rewrite this one, please, as 0 minus 3i? Okay? Now, when we plot these, this here is the real axis, and this here is the imaginary axis. This is not this is not difficult. It's just new, so it's confusing. Here's what it's telling you to do. Go right 0 and go down 3. 1, 2, 3. Now plot a big old dot there and write 0 minus 3i. That's how you do it. That's how you plot a point. Yeah. Okay. Well, now find the absolute value. Do you know that the absolute value of anything is the distance that that thing is from the origin? So that's right. The absolute value of 0 minus 3i is just 3. We're going to have to get our Pythagorean, and we're going to get our Pythagorean in number 9. Good job, Skylar. Okay? So, First, we're going to plot it. Okay? This here is telling us how far to go left or right. So what are we going to do first? Left 4. And then what? Up 8. So this is going to be off the... Yo, this is off the page. That is -4 plus 8i. Okay? Now, when they want the absolute value of -4 plus 8i, they essentially want to know how far is that dot from the origin. Do you remember Pythag? What kind of triangles do we use for Pythag? That's right, right triangles. So we've got -4 and 8, and we're looking for c. So this, the absolute value, is equal to the square root of -4 squared plus 8 squared, which is the square root of 16 plus 64, which is the square root of 80. Take a guess. Which of these numbers do you think go into 80? 4. Good guess. 4 times 20. But do you think 4 goes back into 20? So since 4 goes into 80 and 20, then you know 16 goes into it. That's the trick. So you want to take 16 out. So radical 80 is the square root of 16 times the square root of 5. And what's our final answer for that? 4 radical 5. Why doesn't this involve any i's? Because we're talking about a distance, and distances are real numbers. Okay? We okay so far? That's right, it was confusing, but it's okay. We can get it. All right, here, this is just combined like terms. So what's -6 and +6? 0, 7 plus -7. You just write that as 0 if you wanted. Okay? Number 13. Remember this negative sign. So I think we should probably change everything. -5 plus 3i plus 8 minus 2i equals. Okay? Now we combine like terms. -5 plus 8 is 3i minus 2i is 1i. There's our answer. You guys ever seen Goonies? One-Eyed Willie? You're doing sloth? Excellent. Excellent. Good for you for seeing Goonies. All right. We're going to do 14 and 15 because they're kind of new. Oh, whoa. There they are. What's this acronym mean to you guys? It does mean FOIL, but what does it mean? Thank you, Katie. First, outside, inside, last. So what's 4? You see the difference between number 12 and number 14? Yeah. Number 12 we're subtracting. Number 14 we are? Okay, so 4 times -5 is? -20. Outside, 4 times 4i is? 16i. -3 times -5. Sorry, -3i times -5 is a positive 15i. Very good. Here's the new one. What's -3i times positive 4i? -12i squared. Now, what was I again? The square root of -1. So what is I squared? It's -1. So now we're going to rewrite this as -20 plus 31i minus 12 times what? -1. Very good, Jameson. You just substitute in that -1 for I squared. For the rest of this homework, we're essentially going to try to get I squareds, because then we can get rid of the I and turn it into a -1. So this becomes a plus 12. Do you see that that's a plus 12? And what's plus 12 minus 20? -8 plus 31i is our answer. Got it? All right, so we're going to try number 15. I'll do it in blue so we don't confuse you with what we just did. What's 2 times negative 3? 2 times 6. Negative 1 times negative 3. Positive 3i. Negative 1i times positive 6i is negative 6i squared. What's I squared again? Negative 1. So we're going to... And a negative 6 times a negative 1 is a positive 6. So those are going to cancel each other out. And you end up just with a 15i for that. Okay? All right. Whoops. Sorry. All right, on to number 17. What does it mean to square something? That's right, multiply it by itself. So we're going to rewrite that as, and now this one is just like the last one. Okay, FOIL it. Negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 1. Negative 1 times 3i is minus 3i minus 3i plus 9i squared. Do you see how I got that? I'm moving kind of fast now. Okay, so that 1 minus 6i plus 9 times what? What's I squared again? Negative 1. 9 times negative 1 is negative 9. Negative 9 plus 1 is negative 8 minus 6i. Okay? Why did I just write that so big? Now I don't have any room for number 21. I guess I do have to erase, don't I? Check this out. Pause feature, and we're right back. All right, 21. Okay, we're combining like all the things that we've done now. Negative 2. What's the square root of negative 9 again? It's the square root of 9 times the square root of negative 1. So what is that? So good, very good, Fang Yi. Negative 2 plus 3i. See how I did that? Plus, okay, what's the square root of negative 36 again? 6i. So plus negative 1 minus 6i. Now I'm combining my like terms. So my final answer is negative 3. This is the part where you guys all yell out the right answer and I get excited about my job. Okay, well that'll have to come on a different day. Okay? Very good, Jameson. Thank you. All right, 25. 6 minus 14i. Are you cool with that? I just distributed. And then a negative I times a negative 4. Class? Positive 4i. A negative I times a positive 5i is a negative 5i squared. True? What's I squared again? 6 minus 10i minus 5 times negative 1. That is a 6 minus 10i plus 5, 11 minus 10i. Yep, I like your deep breath, Katie. It was definitely due. Don't you think that's enough imagination for today? Boom!